Good evening, everybody. Welcome along to this edition of SportsView. It's a special on the British Open, probably considered one of the top four, as the top four golf tournaments in the world. And this year, it's on in Liverpool, and we have Derwynne Honan with us. Good evening, Derwynne.
Hey Pat, how are you?
I'm very well, and now I'm just trying to think. He's in his car on his way to the British Open. Now, of course, Cam Smith is the holder of the British Open, Derwynne. Do you think he has a chance of retaining his title?
I really do. I think he's kind of hit some form, hasn't he? He won at Centurion.
Yeah.
He's been over here now since Centurion, so he's been in the UK for a few weeks playing links courses. I think he's got a really good chance of winning it again.
Of course, as we know, the last man to retain the British Open was who?
Valdo, wasn't it?
No, Padraig Harrington.
Was it really?
Yeah, the last golfer to retain it in 2000.
Wow. Well, there you go.
Yeah, 2008. Now, as you saw over the weekend, McIlroy won up in Scotland, and he seems to be in a bit of form. How do you think he'll fare out there himself?
Well, he won his one Open round there, didn't he, round Hoylake?
He did.
So he likes the course. He's hitting a bit of form as well. But I think it's really difficult to say because looking at the forecast for the weather, it looks like Thursday could just be wind and rain. So it depends on their start times. So I spoke to a pal of mine this morning who's up there doing the same thing as me. And he was on the practice ground with some of his pros. And he was soaking wet today. Yet when I phoned him and said I'm on my way, he said it's blue skies and sunshine. So maybe on Thursday, it depends on what side of the draw you get. If you're out early, you might get lucky or you may get unlucky.
I know, and some of the golfers are over here in Ireland last few days, over in Lahinch, which is links course, and over in Ballybunion as well, you know, and other places.
Yeah, Ram was over at Ballybunion, because that's where Tom Watson used to go and play the week before the Open. Watson always used to go and play Ballybunion.
Well, it's beside the sea, and obviously the disappointment from us here for a minute, just to concentrate on a minute, was Shane Lowry. Now I thought the weather would be suitable for him on the Saturday and Sunday. That's Shane Lowry we're talking about, and it was disappointing. He shot a 73 the last day, you know, which really scuppered his chances. But he was all of eight or nine shots off the lead, you know. He was a bit far down, you know. I wouldn't give him much. Would you give him much of a chance?
Again, I would actually fancy Lowry because when the weather turns, he kind of normally comes into his own, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. He does. That's true. That's very true, you know. Now, I know we're jumping around the place, but I see that... Go on. Yeah. Shane and Padraig Harrington are the reason. Padraig Harrington played over the weekend as well in Scotland.
I lost you then, Pat.
That's okay. Yeah, Padraig Harrington finished at -3. You know, he had two pretty good rounds, 67 and 66, and a 70. But then on the Sunday he shot a 74. That was Padraig Harrington we're talking about.
It wouldn't shock me if Harrington. Yeah, I mean Harrington could be top 10. I think easily.
Yeah, he's playing very steady golf, isn't he?
Oh, he's probably playing better now than he ever has.
Yeah. It's phenomenal, really, you know. Phenomenal. Now, your top 3 or 4 or 5. I mean, really, Scotty Scheffler would be surely in the mix, would he?
I think it's hard to say Scheffler won't be in the mix, but I don't fancy Scheffler myself. I think Koepka could be good because he's strong. He's got good ball flight in the wind. And I wouldn't surprise me if Jordan Spieth came good.
Yeah, he didn't qualify for Saturday and Sunday up in Scotland, you know.
Yeah, and I think that might be a good thing in some ways, because he would have got down to Hoylake early, and he's probably been practicing around Hoylake. So
yes,
it wouldn't shock me if Spieth, you know, put in a good show.
Of course, as we know, he won the British Open himself, Jordan Spieth, that is, you know, so he's well capable of winning on our courses here, so to speak, you know.
Yeah,
Now,
I don't fancy Rahm. I don't think Rahm's been in good shape recently, has he?
No, he hasn't. I mean, I think that, well, as you know, there's some golfers, you know, I suppose it depends on how much golf they've played as well, you know. And some of them would be getting, if they're playing every 7 or 8, 10, 12 tournaments, you know, it does take its toll, you know.
Yeah, the
And
travelling is what gets you. But I mean, I just fancy. I really could see Cam Smith. I could see Brooks Koepka. I could see Lowry maybe if the weather turns really bad over the weekend.
And what is the forecast up there? Do you know?
It's supposed to be Thursday. It's just awful by the looks of it.
Right.
But again, you know, forecasting 3 days in advance, I never trust it really. It could blow through, couldn't it, so easily?
And I suppose, Derwynne, I know you know the course, do you?
I do.
And how long is that course? Do you know?
They're playing it at about 7,300 yards.
And what par is 70?
Past 72.
72. And is it? Would you call it a links course or a parkland? What would you call it?
Oh no, it's definitely links.
Definitely links.
Yeah, definitely a links course.
And what about Ricky Fowler? He won recently as well. You know, he's in good form as well.
It's hard to say you don't fancy him, but if I was a betting man, Fowler wouldn't even be an each way bet to me.
Well, let's get parochial for a minute now about it. McIntyre had a good tournament in Scotland, you know?
He did. I think he doesn't putt well enough to win something as big as the Open.
Right. And the perennial guy that's fancied every time he goes out is becoming that now, Victor Hovland. Very disappointing.
Yeah, he's gone off the boil recently, but then again, you know, he can go out there on Thursday, get the bug of it, and who knows? I mean, Hovland's hard to. He's certainly going to be a top tenner, isn't he? A top 10 player.
Yeah. Well, he has the game, as I say, for that anyway. You know. So I mean, I don't know how they pick favourites for the British Open, because I think these tournaments take on a mind of their own. You know, these golf tournaments, and we've mentioned an awful lot of names on this show here, and I dare say some of them mightn't be even there Saturday and Sunday. You know, that's the way the tournament goes sometimes. You know, a young gun or a young golfer.
You know, the Open is the Open. I mean, if the weather comes in the way you think it can decimate the field, and you could have, you know, a complete unknown up there. But at the same time, you know, it's so much luck involved, I think, in the Open, because the start times play into it, the weather plays into it. And I think some experience helps, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about local? What about English golfers? The great golfers.
Fleetwood would be a chance because he's from that area originally.
Well, my son is a big fan, huge fan of Tommy Fleetwood, and he's backed him already each way anyway for the Open, you know. And that's Tommy Fleetwood, and he had a very good tournament up in Scotland just the week gone. So he seems to be in good fettle for it, you know. Tommy
Yeah,
Fleetwood.
he's playing. He's come into some form. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure about Matt Fitzpatrick. I think his game, he hits the ball so high. I think his game's actually better in America.
Right. So we would say, yeah.
But I think, how do we're talking here about throwing names in the hat.
Yeah.
How can you ignore Dustin Johnson?
I hadn't mentioned him on purpose, but I think there's no doubt a talent like Johnson could, he's capable of leading from the front.
Yeah, I mean, you have Patrick Reed. I'm seeing Patrick Reed tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
With his coach, and we're doing a bit of 3D stuff with Patrick Reed, but you kind of, again, he can get it going. He's won the Masters. He's no Wally, is he?
No, I mean, Patrick Reed is very steady. Any tournament he enters, he's there or thereabouts. If you look at where he finishes, he rarely misses a cut. Really.
It's very. I think as an Open, this one could be pretty interesting to see what happens on Sunday afternoon. Obviously, McIlroy is never going to be that far away.
No. Well, McIlroy is and it's 9 years since he won the last major.
And they've made him favourite round here, haven't they, this week? But I don't know if that means anything really.
Well, as you know, Derwynne, being a golf addict yourself, every tournament that McIlroy enters, he's either the first or second or third favourite for anywhere because of the talent that he is. Let's be honest about it. He's quite capable of shooting the lights out any day he goes out. Now, I presume you're familiar with Portrush Golf Course, are you?
Yeah. Evening, because I think.
Yeah. You're familiar with
Say
the
that
golf
again,
course?
sorry, Pat.
Yeah, I'll repeat that again. The golf course in Portrush, the Open has gone back there in 2024.
Yeah, that's a great golf course, Portrush.
I heard there's a great golf course, but from a spectator's point of view, it's a disaster.
Yeah, it's a bit of one of those because it's one road in, one road out. I think. Yeah. I mean, I love Portrush. I think Portrush is an amazing golf course. It's overshadowed, Portrush, by Royal County Down.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. County Down's pretty. Portrush is a proper golf course. I mean, County Down's lovely, but it's no Portrush, that's for sure.
Right, and Portrush, from a golfer's point of view, would be a real test.
Oh yeah, you win round there. I mean, I know Larry won round there, which bit of an amazing thing really to have him win round there.
It was, yeah.
But I think that's a test and a half. I mean, there's a hole there, a par 3 called Calamity, and Bobby Locke was leading the Open there one year. And he ended up taking something silly, like a 7 or something.
Go away.
On a par 3, and it's one of those par 3s. You hit the green and you go, oh, there's nothing to this. You miss it left or right, and you go, how the hell do you play this hole?
Exactly. Exactly.
So, to me, that's what Portrush is about. Is that you can miss the green and be totally snookered.
And I remember when Lowry won there, I remember on the Sunday morning when he teed off, when he hit his first ball and he bogeyed the first hole, in the last round when he won the Open, and I was saying, well, there's a few of us watching, I said, oh God, but he really played out of his skin after that. Just every shot,
Yeah, you know, there's something about Lowry. He's a shot maker. So if his head's on and it's blowing and it's tough, you know, he can make the ball work. He can work the ball. Whereas I don't think McIlroy is a shot maker like that.
McIlroy is, well, he is power. He has power. Well, and he put it very well now the weekend, Derwynne. You know, he put it very well.
Look, I'm not knocking him at all. All I think is, Larry's imagination for links golf is pretty good. You know, the Renaissance Club, where they played the Scottish Open, isn't really a links golf course. So it's a more of a parkland course, but plays a bit linksy. That's the best way of phrasing it.
Because it's by the sea. Yeah.
It's a little bit by the sea, yeah, but it's not. You know, it's right next door to Muirfield, but it's not Muirfield.
Yeah.
So I mean, again, horses for courses and stuff. But if it got really bad, I mean, that's one of Harrington's secrets. Is he's a shot maker.
Yeah.
You know, he sees things differently, and I think Dustin Johnson's a shot maker. He sees shots differently.
Yes. That is true. That is true. That's true. We're looking forward here to SportsView. Tell all your friends about us. Press the red button to subscribe to our channel on the right-hand side. We're here every Monday. SportsView is the program, I said, and info@theirmedia.tv is our email, and please contact us anytime on the show. Just a small bit, Derwynne, you know, just a small bit of soccer. It looks like Harry Maguire could be going to West Ham.
I know, all my West Ham friends can't believe they're going to end up with him.
And, well, poor old Harry. But as we said before on the show, like, not picking on Harry Maguire, that sometimes a club does not suit a player. You know, I give him the benefit of the doubt because he is a good player. Let's be honest about it now. You know, he's a good player, you know. And I think he is a Premiership player. And I think the change of club might do him very well.
Yeah, I think it's got to be hard playing for Man United, isn't it? I mean, you know, you've got to be on top of your game every day, haven't you?
You do. You do.
Whoever they play, you know, including your Arsenals, including your Man Cities and your Chelseas and your Arsenals and all them, let's face it, they are big games, aren't they?
Oh,
and then when they play Brentford, it's Brentford's FA Cup final, really, isn't it?
Oh, by the way, a sad piece of news, Derwynne, from me, you know. I'll share it with you, you know. I know you'll understand. All the season tickets in Luton Town are sold out.
And they can't play the first couple of games, can they?
The first game has been rearranged, you know.
Right.
That was touch and go for the 19th of August, their game against Burnley. So that's being rearranged. So it looks like they'll be okay from then on, you know. That was a tight deadline. That was a tight deadline for them. I think they won't have the smallest ground in the Premiership. It will be the second smallest ground after Bournemouth, you know, when the works are completed, you know. But we wish them well anyway, you know. And it looks like Harry Kane, the latest of Harry Kane, that he's going to Bayern Munich.
I don't know if I lost you then.
I think that it looks like Harry Kane is going to Bayern Munich.
I know, that's amazing. He can't speak English, let alone German.
Yeah. Well, Messi anyway. Messi is the new man with David Beckham, and so is Busquets has gone to Miami as well. You know.
I know. That's going to be some. It's going to be some lineup, isn't it?
Yeah, well, Busquets, and also the former manager of Barcelona, who is Gerardo Martino, is the new manager of Miami, and Messi played under him in Barcelona, you know. So there's huge connections there. There's been a lot of money spent, you know, and they have a very small stadium. I think they have the smallest stadium in soccer in America. We wish them well. It'd be exciting enough, you know. Aaron Ramsey, do you remember him, Aaron Ramsey?
Yeah, yeah.
He's gone from Nice back to Cardiff City. That's where he's from, anyway, Cardiff.
Yeah, he started there and then got picked up by Arsenal, didn't he?
Yeah, he's gone back to on a 2-year deal to Cardiff City, you know, which is good for Cardiff. He still has plenty to offer, I think. You know, he's only 31, 32, you know, 31 or 32, you know, and there you go. And Rashford has put pen to paper in a new 5-year deal with Man United. Well, it was on the wire.
Yeah.
So
I don't think he was ever going to leave, was he?
Well, who was in for him? I don't know who was in for him. The Women's World Cup is starting Thursday, Derwynne. The 9th edition of the Women's World Cup, the 9th edition, is starting on Thursday in Australia and New Zealand. And if you believe the betting in the bookies, and as the man said, they're very seldom wrong, they're planning for an England-USA final, because they're on opposite sides of the draw anyway, you know.
Yeah.
And I know our country, Ireland, qualified for the very first time. Only 4 countries have won the Women's World Cup. The first one was 1991. And America have won it 4 times, Germany twice, and then Norway and Japan. So, you know, the odds are stacked against the other teams, but nevertheless, I think Germany will do well. Brazilian women have never won the World Cup, the Women's World Cup. And they've had a consistent, that wonderful women's player, Mata. I know people might have heard of her. Fantastic player. I think she's going to her 5th World Cup this year, you know, which is astonishing, you know. She's the Pele of Brazilian ladies football, for the want of a better description. And anyway, we wish all the teams very well on Thursday kick-off. And they're all on, our time they're on between 11 in the morning, 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock. So get plenty of time to see them. Plenty of time to see them. But I think that, and of course, the greatest tennis player that I saw in my lifetime, Novak Djokovic, was beaten over the weekend by Alcaraz from Spain in a thrilling 5-setter, you know. It's astonishing.
It was an amazing final, wasn't it?
It's astonishing to think that Novak Djokovic was a professional tennis player when Alcaraz was just born, you know?
I know. It's amazing when you think about it.
When you think about it. I mean, he's 36, almost 37. Alcaraz is 20. I don't believe it. I believe that he deserved to win. But I think it was very tight, very close all the way, you know? And I think it was a testament of the fantastic tennis player that Djokovic is, not taking away from Alcaraz at all, you know? He'd have plenty more opportunities, but I think that it was a great final, you know, great final.
No, I think it'd be interesting to see who wins the US Open, because that's what's next, isn't it?
Yeah, that's next now on the hard court, and never know. We'll see how that will happen, you know. Obviously, Alcaraz will be more used to that than grass, you know. And
yeah, but I think Djokovic is good on any surface, isn't he?
Oh, he is absolutely. He's the one player in the men's game that has won all the majors more times, has won every major at least 3 times. All the 4 majors at least 3+ times, which is astonishing when you think of it anyway, you know. But getting back to the golf, anyway, we'll have to, and we'll have an early show tonight there when we're driving. But before we finish up, what about names? We'll throw out 4 or 5 names for the golf, you know, that could excite us over the weekend.
Who could win it? My five players would be Cam Smith, Shane Lowry, Brooks Koepka, Jordan Spieth, and I'm going to throw a wild card in for you, Patrick Reed.
Yeah, funny enough, yeah, and there'd be good prices, Patrick Reed, wouldn't it? I mean, Derwynne, none of those would surprise me, you know, anybody who follows golf, and Patrick Reed would not surprise me. He's a very, very steady and he's a very intelligent golfer, you know. Now,
he can hit it. I mean, and he knows how to win.
And if you're anywhere over the weekend with 10 minutes, give me a text and I'll tune in. SportsView is the program. Don't forget to press the red button to subscribe to our channel, and tell all your friends about us to subscribe as well. Press the red button. We're trying to get the subscribers up to 1,000, which would be great. Now, Derwynne, as I said, Derwynne Honan is with us tonight, and he's on his way to Liverpool for the British Open, the 2023 version of the British Open, and he gave you his tips here. So if you lose money, I'll give you all Derwynne's phone number. You can ring Derwynne if you're going to lose money. And there'll be no problem there. You know, I know where he lives as well, so you don't worry about that. You know. But Derwynne, I just said here before we finish up and leave you on a journey. What about if you're around any one of the days and you have 10 minutes, just give me a buzz and I'll tune in to you.
No worries, we'll do, mate.
Okay, and safe journey, Derwynne, and thanks very much for joining us tonight, and the best of luck and good golfing.
No worries. I'll speak to you during the week.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Derwynne. So long now. Bye-bye.
No worries. Thanks, guys. Bye.